guys, April 29, 2019, and today we're going to talk specifically about trading Google earnings. Google's fixing to announce earnings in 35 minutes from now. It's 3:25 p.m. And here's what we expect to happen. Google will hit officially all-time highs after hours. And here's why we think this is going to happen. Just for a quick comparison, 2 years ago, Google and Amazon were actually traded at the same price of about $1,000 a share. Now, you know what happened to the price of Amazon next. Since then, Amazon has actually rocketed from 1,000 all the way to a level of 2,050, dropped back to 1,300, and now currently trades at a level of 1,950. Now, as far as the value investors, when they're putting a price target, when they're looking at the valuation, the PE, and all that kind of crap that we really don't care about when we're trading short term, okay? These investors are looking for deals right now. And among all the FANG stocks, Google is actually the cheapest stocks from the way institutional investors looking at the earnings per share, the growth prospects, and so on. So what has happened in the downturn in December of 2024 is Google was very reluctant to break a level of $1,000. A couple of times over the last couple of years, it dipped below that 1,000 mark, and it promptly jumped right above that. So the 1,000 level in Google have a huge support. And since then, the chart pattern has been such in Google over the last couple of years where it consistently traded between that 1,000 level and about $1,250, $1,280. Well, all the price action and what the charts are showing, it's about to break out. And why do you think Amazon is actually in the red today? Well, because the way institutional investors work, in order for them to buy some other technology stock, they have to distribute, liquidate, or sell some other technology stock. So in this case, Amazon has moved from the lows in December from 1307 all the way to 1950. So they are locking gains on Amazon today. Why? In the overall positive market environment, Amazon is dropping today because some institutional investors are clearing up some funds so they could buy Google after hours. Actually, if we analyze some of the FANG stocks that have already reported, Facebook and Google are most correlated. If you look in the history, these stocks have a tendency to trade in the same direction. When Facebook had all the privacy issues, the stock among the FANG stocks that suffered the most was Google. Now, recently, Facebook has moved up subsequently despite of everything. And because they're so correlated in the way they trade together, that's actually setting up a very nice stage for Google to move higher. Now, if you try to learn more about correlation type trades and how to take advantage of them throughout the earnings season, this is a basic example, but guys, there's so much out there. So if you're trying to improve as a trader, click the link below, find Trade Like a Rockstar course that specifically focuses on trading earnings and the correlation type trades that deal how to catch trades of something that has already taken place that you can utilize to put on another trade that will move in the same direction. Now, for the lack of better deals out there, look, there's a lot of technology stocks that have appreciated substantially over the course of the last 4 or 5 months. And institutional investors, they're looking for deals right now. The reason they're looking for deals is because the VIX environment is so low. It's between 12 and 14 over the course of the last month or two. And that is typically the type of environment where institutional investors are struggling to find cheaply priced stocks. Now, when I say cheaply, it does not mean that they're looking for $5, $10 stocks. As a matter of fact, institutional investors, they prefer the higher priced stocks. So what they're doing, because a lot of stocks like the cloud sector stocks, they've already increased in value literally 50, 100%, or a minimum of 30%. So they're looking for deals right now. And since most of the technology stocks are trading at all-time highs, they're really trying to identify investments that are about to break out. And Google represents such value. This is what the charts are telling us is about to take place. So here's Google on the daily chart. There's a lot of positive developments on the daily chart, such as the bullish breakout, what we call a bullish crossover between the 50-day moving average and the 200-day moving average. For those of you that have been following our channel, a while ago when we predicted the market top in September and October, we were talking a lot about the bearish crossover where the blue line actually crosses the orange line on the way lower. In case of Google on the daily chart, we have exact opposite of that. Not only that, recently we're noticing that the buy volume in Google has been consistently picking up in relation to in relation to some other stocks such as cloud stock, where the volume has been dropping off on the buy side. So that tells us there is a little bit of a rotation from some companies, some institutional investors taking profits of some technology stocks, and it shows us here on this chart that potentially the money has been going into Google stock. Now, understanding institutional investors' behavior is key because they don't just buy stocks and hold them for a couple of weeks or a month. They're buying Google stock over the course of last 2 weeks in April in the expectation of a bigger move, and they've been so consistent at doing so that we actually on short-term time frame, which is this daily chart we're looking at, represents by the highest RSI. Now, a lot of you are going to argue, well, it is oversold and it's about to drop. Well, some of the biggest breakouts in the history of the stock market happened with a chart that was resembling this chart right here, guys. And multiple factors contribute to the positive accumulation by institutional investors in the expectation of moving the stock higher to all-time highs. So we've got multiple bullish factors going on, and if you're trying to learn how to read charts, guys, click the link below, find the charts divergence course, and learn more about how simple it really is to be able to look at the chart and within 5 minutes to understand where something will be headed next. So here's Google weekly chart. And here's the little tricky part that I wanted to bring to your attention. Look at this. Some of you may be thinking that this is a double top, which means that in case of a double top, you would expect the stock to reverse and go lower. Now, this top that we're forming right now is quite a bit different from the top that was formed right here about a year ago. And the difference is actually less than a year ago. We're talking about August, September top. As you can see, there was a lot of bearish reversal momentum going on. And if you've taken our charts divergence course, you know that we call these candles the failed rocket launches, where something looks like it's going higher while institutional investors are actually taking their money out. So if you study the behavior within these candles, you'll understand that this was a bearish type top. Now this is a very bullish type top because, as you can see, we're seeing exact opposite behavior where they continually moving the stock price higher, and these candles are formed in such formation which is exactly the opposite of these candles right here, where their tails are sticking out all the way at the high levels right here. We got tails sticking out at the bottom right here. Now also, I like to examine the multiple time frames to make sure we get a consistent reading across the board. On the previous daily chart, I have shown you how we had a very positive bullish crossover in the MACD. It is also confirmed on this time frame, and the accumulation distribution showed us that the investors consistently buying stock in the expectation of a move higher is also here on the weekly chart. What we're predicting is the RSI will continue to move higher, particularly over the course of the next week or two in the stock as it breaks out higher. Now, this is not a complete cup with a handle, which is a very bullish formation. However, some cups like this, if you use your imagination, you can sort of draw a cup, and the cup with a handle, you would have a handle here. Well, in this case, there are some instances, if you study many charts over the years, where stocks automatically break out without actually creating a handle formation. And I think this is going to be exactly the case in Google today after hours. Now, what we're looking at from the price action today, and we have witnessed a lot of stocks going to close to their all-time highs into the earnings report, and some of the best stocks in the AI and cloud, they've had some institutional investors panic, and we've seen them withdraw their money. What we're noticing from Google Trade in Action today, on Monday, the 29th of April, 2019, is that nobody is panicking. Especially if we analyze the accumulation distribution for today, everybody is steadily accumulating shares. Now, oftentimes going into the earnings report, you will see some crazy sell-off, then going higher, or the opposite, you'll see something move crazily higher and then sell off on drastic volume. This is nice and steady. This is the kind of environment and chart you would typically see in a stock that is about to make a move higher, because nobody's panicking, nobody's taking their money out. That tells you that the predominant agenda of institutional investors is not to sell the stock, but rather to accumulate as many shares as possible and move the stock to all-time highs. Now, last but not the least, we're seeing that the options volume pricing specifically outnumbering the put side. And I didn't sit down and add exactly every particular strike, but if you just look at a few key strike on the call side in the 1300 level calls, we have just today written close to 3,000 contracts. And again, I'm recording this about 35 minutes before the market closes at 4 p.m. today. So right now it's 3:25, 3:30. And as you can see in this strike alone, there are about close to 3,000 contracts today. In the 1320 strike, 1,200 contracts. Another 1,200 contracts in the 1330 on the call side. Another 1,000 contracts in the 1340. Another 1,350 contracts in the 1350. If we combine all these strikes right here, guys, and compare them to the similar strikes, the 1300 put side, the 1290 put side, the 1280 put side, the 1270 put side, the calls outnumber in today's action alone. The calls outnumber the puts literally like 8 or 9 to 1. Now, not very often do we see such a huge difference between the call side and the put side. That tells us that pretty much everyone unanimously agrees that no matter what the earnings announcement is going to be, they are determined to move the stock price higher. So here's the conclusion. Google will trade based off the charts and based on what we're seeing in various signs here, examining the charts, examining the options, that it will trade to a level of 1350 to 1360 after hours. And it will ultimately hit $1,400 in the next 7 days. Now, I know if you're a bear, that is not something you want to hear, but guys, trust me, charts don't lie. And if you are trying to learn more about trading options, reading the charts, how to trade earnings, guys, click the link below. If you have any questions about anything at all that has to do with trading stocks or options or reading charts, or any macro environmental questions that deal with trading, guys, simply click the link below. Take advantage of a 20-minute free coaching call. Just follow the links below, schedule it. It won't cost you a dime, but if you're trying to gain more knowledge about trading, stocks or options, this is definitely a unique opportunity where you can ask any questions whatsoever that have been on your mind, that you've been maybe looking for an answer for, and you haven't been able to answer it through any other channels out there. Guys, take advantage of this. I will personally take some time to answer your calls over the course of the next few days. I know some of you has been trying to schedule these calls, and because of my busy travel schedule, I haven't been able to answer them. So this is your chance. Schedule your call today, and I will make sure we will answer all of your questions. With that said, enjoy an awesome trading week. This earnings week is absolutely insane. Guys, I wish everybody great success. I'll catch you in the next video.